I'd like to introduce you now to the Autosum function. So the button can look something like this, depending on where you find it. And I'll show you where I find it on my Home tab, and I find it over here in the Editing group, and I see the Autosum button here. You can also find the Autosum button on the Formulas tab, and you find it over here in the Function Library Autosum button. So I'm going to go back to the Home tab because it's convenient, and think about it up here. And again, you could right-click this and add it to your Quick Access toolbar if you wanted. So the Autosum is a built-in function that totals up numbers inside of a range. And there's many ways you can use this, and there's some simple ways and some more complicated ways. And I just want to introduce you to some simple techniques right now. So let me go to the data sheet. And let's say I want to add up these numbers. Now I could go to this cell and type in an equal sign, point and click on cell B7 plus B8 plus B9. And that would take a little bit of time. And if there was 10 cells to add, I could do that. But an Autosum button can add up a series of numbers in a range very efficiently. So the technique for this process that I'll show you now is you click on the blank cell beneath the list of numbers. And if you're adjacent to the last number, it's very efficient. You click on the Autosum button. So again, Home tab, Editing group, Autosum. I click on it once, and you can see in the formula bar or in the cell itself, it just put in a bunch of entries. It reads this way, equal sum, and then parenthesis, B7 colon B9. And I read that colon as the word through. So in common English, Excel is saying, I'm going to get the total of cells B7 through B9. And if that's okay with you, you just press the Enter key and complete the entry. And there you have, well, the answer, 140,000. So if I change this number here to 235,000, the sum up at the bottom will change to a much larger number. Let's try that again. I'll go to a blank cell beneath this range of numbers. I click the Autosum button. Once it proposes to add up the cells directly above me, I press the Enter key and I complete that operation. Now let me go to a cell not adjacent and let's see what happens here. I click on the Autosum button once and it goes up to the cells above me, but it also includes whatever blank cells there might be. So this could also be a way that you work with the Autosum button. I'll press Enter to complete that operation. Now let me press the Undo button a couple times to revert this back to its original state. And I want to introduce a little more complexity. Just so you see, the Autosum button needs to be worked with a little more strategically if you really want to get it going very powerfully. Let me add a couple other numbers to add. Okay, so let's say I want to add up these numbers and put the total here. You can ignore that I've got the word subtotal there. I'm making up this example right now. If I click the Autosum button, well, it's going to propose to add up a range of cells. Let's see, and I'm wanting to add up these numbers here. Let's see what it does when I click the button. It proposes to just add up the cells directly above, and it stops at the next blank cell. So this is not exactly what I was thinking. Let me quickly show you how to overcome this. But again, it points to more complexity, and I don't want to cover this in this particular introductory class. But if you drag the mouse across the range that you prefer, you see it now says B7 through B13, exactly the numbers I want to add, and then I press the Enter key. I'm in business. So there are ways the Autosum button makes a proposal to you. So if I click the Autosum button here, you probably know what it's going to propose, but it might or might not be exactly what I had in mind. So again, I'll emphasize this. If I'm here and I want to add up these numbers and I click the Autosum button, it proposes to add up this range of numbers here. I like to call it this way. I make my counter proposal. I drag the mouse across the numbers I would prefer to add, and then I press the Enter key, and I've helped it to understand what I had in my mind. Okay, so the Autosum function is very powerful. There are other ways of working with it. I cover this in other courses and other functions as well. So in this course, I only wanted to introduce you to the Autosum function. You can find it on the Home tab, Autosum. You'll notice there is a drop-down arrow, and there are other shortcut statistical functions. I cover these in other courses. You can also find in the Formulas tab the Autosum button here, and the drop-down arrow shows you the other shortcut functions. If you're feeling brave, you can try out those on your own, or join me in another class on formulas and functions. Okay, so that's it for the Autosum function. Practice with it. Make series of numbers. Practice adding. Practice defining your own range. And get good at this if adding numbers is in your future.